Imagine being raised by someone who gave you everything, only for you to become their worst nightmare. Today, we're diving into a case that left the city of Memphis in total shock. Hey guys, welcome back to Crimson Files. This is the chilling and tragic story of Natashay Ward and a betrayal no one saw coming. Our story begins in Memphis, Tennessee, with a woman named Martha Jean Ward. At 53 years old, she was the pillar of her family. Martha wasn't just a grandmother. She was a protector. She had taken in her granddaughter, Natashay, from a very young age. To the outside world, they were close. Martha provided a home, food, and love for Natashay for over 2 decades. But as Natashay reached her early 20s, the atmosphere inside their home started to shift. Something was brewing beneath the surface. It was July 2012. The summer heat was rising, and so was the tension within the Ward household. Natashay, who was 22 at the time, seemed to be struggling with internal demons that no one fully understood. On a Tuesday afternoon, the quiet neighborhood was shattered by a frantic call to emergency services. Something terrible had happened. When authorities arrived at the scene, they found a house that looked normal from the outside, but held a grim secret inside. Inside, they discovered the body of Martha Jean Ward. The woman who had given everything to her family was gone. The scene was described as incredibly chaotic. It wasn't just a quick incident, it was a prolonged and personal attack. Investigators found that Martha had been attacked with multiple household items. The level of aggression was baffling. But the biggest shock came when they found the primary suspect. It wasn't an intruder or a stranger. It was Natashay. She was still at the scene when the police arrived, and her behavior was anything but normal. Natashay was immediately taken into custody. As the details of the incident emerged, the community couldn't believe it. How could a granddaughter do this to the woman who raised her? What could possibly drive someone to such an extreme? During the investigation, police found a chilling detail. Natashay had reportedly been acting strangely for days leading up to the event. Some reports suggested she claimed to be hearing voices that told her to do the unthinkable. As the case moved toward trial, the defense focused heavily on Natasha's mental state. Was she truly in control of her actions? The prosecution, however, had a different take. They argued that this was a deliberate act of rage and domestic conflict. The trial revealed that Natashay had used several different knives during the attack. It was a sustained struggle that lasted for some time. Neighbors testified that they heard shouting, but they never expected it to end in such a tragedy. The medical examiner's report was heartbreaking. Martha Jean Ward had fought for her life against her own granddaughter. One of the most haunting pieces of evidence was Natasha Lacey's own statements to the police after her arrest. She spoke about demons and a dark presence that had taken over her mind that day. But was this a genuine psychological break, or a convenient excuse to avoid the consequences of a horrific crime? The jury had to decide if Natashay Ward was a victim of her own mind or a cold-blooded killer. The tension in the courtroom was thick every time Natashay spoke. Her calm demeanor was unsettling to many. Martha's other family members were torn apart. They had lost their matriarch, and their relative was the one responsible. The prosecution presented evidence that Natashay had been frustrated with her living situation and her grandmother's rules. They suggested that this wasn't a sudden demon, but a boiling pot of resentment that finally overflowed. As the evidence piled up, the defense struggled to prove that Natashay was legally insane at the time of the act. Psychiatric evaluations were performed, but the results were complicated and often contradictory. In the end, the jury reached a verdict. Natashay Ward was found guilty of first-degree murder. The courtroom went silent. The granddaughter, who was raised with love, would now spend the rest of her life behind bars. She was sentenced to life in prison. A life for a life, as the saying goes. But the pain for the family remained. This case serves as a dark reminder that sometimes the people we trust the most are the ones capable of the most hurt. What happened to Natasha Ward? She remains in a Tennessee correctional facility, serving her time for the 2012 crime. The house in Memphis stands as a quiet monument to a tragedy that should have never happened. The memory of Martha Jean Ward lives on through her other family members who still mourn the woman they lost. It's a story that asks us, do we ever truly know what's going on in someone else's mind? Even those we raise and care for can harbor secrets that are too dark for the light of day. The Natashay Ward case remains one of the most chilling examples of domestic tragedy in Memphis history. It reminds us to cherish our loved ones and to look closer when things seem just a little bit off. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the Ward case. It's a heavy one, but an important story to tell. If you found this story compelling, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more true crime files. What do you think really happened that day? Was it a mental break or something more calculated? Let us know in the comments. Stay safe out there and always keep your eyes open. You never know what's hiding behind a closed door. This has been Crimson Files. We'll see you in the next mystery. Goodbye for now.